Good afternoon and welcome to the Muskegon Community College Strategic Planning Process Launch Meeting. Today we're going to provide you with an overview of the strategic planning process, and at the end there'll be plenty of time for your questions and answers and comments and suggestions at the end. To start us out, here's Dr. Dale Nesbary, Muskegon Community College President.
Thank you, Tina, and good afternoon, folks. Welcome to our strategic planning launch 2022-2026. I am Dale Nesbary, president of your Muskegon Community College, and I believe Tina D, or one of my colleagues, is driving the slide deck. So thank you for that. Now we're going to begin with the welcome, give you a sense of what our mission is, vision, and guiding values, and then just talk a little bit about what we've been doing for the last essentially 5 years. We'll go back a little bit further than that, and we'll look forward about 5 years as well. Now you're seeing our mission, vision, and values. Our mission, vision, and values are stated, cover exactly what we do in a way that the average reader can remember. So 10 words, focusing on the issues that we believe are so important. Won't walk through all of this with you, but have you just read this over. Our vision as well, and our guiding values. All of these words are important, but the word kindness, I believe, is something that we believe is important. It's one thing to say certain words or push those out there, but we have to live those values as well. And so I believe that among those words, kindness is very important. Next slide, please. Now, a few facts about Muskegon Community College. Again, I won't walk through all of these, but if you look dead center in this slide, you'll see that according to a recent assessment of our economic impact on our region, that's a 3-county region, $261 million in economic impact. That includes our employees, our students, our alums, our faculty, staff, and those who we have impacted each year. It's a big number. It's $250 million. We're constantly ranked consistently ranked as one of the best community colleges in the nation. And I like to say that this is not something that we've done in terms of a survey of our friends or our buddies or colleagues and so forth. These kinds of rankings come from organizations, and the most recent ranking, intelligent.com, from across the nation, of all 1,100 community colleges, ranking us on enrollment trends, student retention, student graduation rate, transfer rate, and those things that are important to our broader community and our business community. We move our students through, we graduate them, and we transfer them. And as a result, compared to those 1,100 community colleges, most recently we were ranked number 19 out of those. So we're very proud of that, achieving the Dream Leader College, and we have sites all over West Michigan. So we provide those services, both bricks and mortar, and as you all know, moreover, online. Next slide, please. Now, some other factoids that I think are important. $55 million in infrastructure investments in the region. And that means the buildings that we've constructed on campus, downtown, Ottawa County, and some of the work that we've done in Owego County. Again, that's a big number. And if you compare that with any other business or organization for that matter in Muskegon, for the city of Muskegon, I believe the #1 investor has been Mercy Health Muskegon at roughly $271 million. And we, I believe, are next at $55 million in the city of Muskegon. Again, that's an important number that provides jobs and provides support for our community. Now, also not as well known, we've secured over $20 million in gifts and grants over the last 7 years, including the largest grant in West Michigan history for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And that's meaningful. Those dollars go all over the state for all sorts of reasons, I should say. But a few years ago, in constructing our downtown center, now our Storage Technology Center, we received $4.1 million for infrastructure and equipment. And that's important for us, and it was important to Medic as well. Some other issues that I believe are important that you'd be interested in. A nationally recognized COVID response program. Now, recently, two of us have been asked to serve on national panels to discuss how we respond to COVID. When I say national panels, I mean invited by the U.S. Department of Education Secretary Cardona, and also invited by the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Civil Rights Department recently to have a conversation about what we've done. And these panels include colleges like the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, University of Southern California, and Florida A&M University as well. So many colleges from around the nation. We were one of those because of some of the work that we've done here at Muskegon Community College. That is because specifically we've done testing on our campus. We've had vaccination clinics on our campus. We've had what's described as a very innovative pop-up hospital on campus, meaning our health and wellness center was constructed and opened, I believe, in 2019, and correct me, Dr. Selmon, if I am wrong on that, to serve as a COVID either testing center or a hospital if we needed to go in that direction. No, we didn't, but we were aware, and Mercy Health was aware. Department of Health local, Muskegon County was aware, and Region 6 Emergency Management, State of Michigan was aware that we needed that kind of facility in Muskegon County. And we constructed that facility, and emergency management literally took that space over and held it in case COVID moved to a point where we needed to use it as a hospital space. So that was something that was interesting enough that the Department of Education Secretary asked us to speak on that issue in a national conference. Next slide, please. Now, I'd like to also introduce our Board of Trustees. Some of them may be on this call. I think you know them, led by Diana Osborne, our chair, recently recognized for 50 years of service to the college, including as a trustee and a staff person and as a student. Sean Mullally, Nancy Fry, Kathy Moore, Dr. Don Crandall, Sean Cook, and Roy Portiga. Next slide, please. And this is our cabinet. You see the names here. This represents folks who have moved to Muskegon, either from a local location to from across the nation to work for the college. And we're very happy with the staff that we have on board currently, and they've done yeoman's work recently to support our staff, our students, and importantly, our faculty in their mission. Next slide, please. So strategic planning. Since I've been on board since 2009, we've developed 3 strategic plans, 2009, 2017, 22, and the recently developed, or as we're speaking here, 2022 to 26 plan. Many volunteers, including 52 organizations. I believe there were 80 community volunteers during the most recent plan, and every goal has at least one measurable objective. If you know me, I say I run the numbers, being a former assistant budget director of the city of Boston, Massachusetts, research director for that same organization for the police department. I like to know that what we're doing is accomplishing the goals that we have set. And thanks to the hard work of our staff and the direction of Tina D, we're doing that kind of work. So there are links here. This information will be available to you. You can track our project progress quarterly. We track our progress on a daily basis and report to ourselves and to the board on a monthly basis. Next slide, please. Here are some examples of what we've accomplished. You'll see imbued in these goals technology. We've purchased software, hardware for our students to help them navigate COVID, help them navigate the application process for scholarships and online software. Our Ottawa Center expanded opportunities for folks who are resident of Ottawa County or nearby. It should be noted that that center opened, I believe, 3 years ago, and we recently gained access to the Thompson MTech Center at Port Sheldon Road as well, so our students can take classes not just at our center, but at Thompson MTech as well. So we're expanding service there, and we have a wonderful center in Newaygo County as well at the Newaygo RESA Center. Next slide, please. So we've done other things. We've accomplished goals that you see are listed here. Academic master planning, the guidelines were set. We've sent technology again, 110 laptops to our students to support remote learning. Completed our Safety First Fall 2020 opening plan to ensure that 33 protocols were implemented. That is why not one case of COVID could have been traced to Muskegon Community College. And again, as a former police official myself, it's important to have health safety and physical safety for our students. And this is one of the ways we do it. So thank you to all of our faculty and staff and students who made this a possibility. Next slide, please. So, I mean, more technology. Navigation, the one issue that everyone states when they come to our campuses, I can't find anything there, we need better signage. And so during the last year and a half, we've installed over 900 signs to help with that process. Things have gotten better, so let me know if you need better direction, and we'll do what we can to improve the process. We've completed each year within budget, as we indicated to our board, security assessment of all our locations and many more. Just click on the link that you see there and you can learn more. Next slide, please. So integrated planning continues. We are completing our current plan 6 months early to, and largely because of COVID, we wanted to move through the process and make sure that we're able to have a post-COVID planning environment. And we're doing that with, again, the support of our faculty, staff, and students, but with the help of the Society for College and University Planning, Dr. Nick Santilli. I believe you will hear from him later. One of the leading planning exponents in the nation will be helping us in this process, as he did with the previous process. Next slide, please. And with that, I would like to turn the meeting over to Dr. John Selmon, our Provost and Executive Vice President.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Nesbary. And as you can see, our theme this year is Aspiring to Be the Best. That takes some incredible work, and we need to engage in multitude of ways. We are a community college, and we want to have a community effort here. So if you go to the next slide here. Why are we aspiring to be the best? Because our students and our communities we serve deserve the best, just plain and simple. They deserve the best. And so if you go to the next slide here, and I talked about community college and community, the community being involved, and that's what we're trying to do is here. This is a collective effort. We're trying to engage students, our community stakeholders, board members, and all that we can in this strategic initiative to accomplish our student success goals and position the college to be one of the best in the nation. And we are well on our way. So we're going to develop a plan, and we're going to manage to the plan, and we're going to review the plan on a regular basis to make sure that our students are achieving the metrics and benchmarks that we set. And the question is simple: are our students doing that? And if not, why? And what are we doing about it? And those will be questions that we'll be asking quite a bit throughout this plan as we implement it over the next few years here. So if you go to the next slide here, please. So a lot of our focus is going to be on in this new strategic plan. It's about student success and completion. It's about getting students done, getting them to the next step, next phase in their life. And so we're going to look at some areas to do this, and we're going to measure them along the lines of access, completion, postgraduate success, and equity. And in terms of access, I'm simply talking about making sure that this institution is open to all that want to attend and to take advantage of the educational opportunities that they're seeking. And so that's all groups, young, old, veterans, non-veterans, low income students, underrepresented populations. We want to make sure that these doors continue to be open and that everybody knows that in terms of access. And we're doing a good job now. We continue to do some work in that area. Completion. When I talk about completion, we're talking about persistence, retention, and graduation rates. And persistence, simply getting our students from fall to winter and then retention, getting them from fall to fall, then to the following fall, and graduation rate, getting them done. So we get students into the institution, through the institution, and beyond. And when we talk about postgraduate success, you know, we have a responsibility to get our students to transfer institutions if they choose to do that, and to make sure that they're not missing a beat. In other words, that they transition to 4-year institutions and can complete in that curriculum at a very high level, and that they don't lose any credits as they're transferring in any time. So time and money is really going to be important. So we want to make sure we continue to focus on that transfer initiative if they choose to do that. And the career-wise, we want to look and make sure that students are leaving this institution with family-sustaining wages to make sure that they can take care of their families and loved ones as they transition out of the institution. And equity is going to run through everything that we do. Equity is in our mission statement, and equity is going to be, we're going to pay attention to it as it relates to equity in access, equity in completion, and equity in postgraduate success. Getting the students what they need to do to be successful, and making sure that we leave no groups of students behind. And so that's access, completion, postgraduate success, and equity. You'll be hearing a lot about that, and all of you will be a part of helping develop some of this stuff so that we can make sure we're doing it right. So how do we know that we are the best? As we mentioned, we're going to make sure that underrepresented groups are served, but we also want to make sure that that we, in terms of this top student service awards from leading student success organizations, like the Achieving the Dream, which is a national initiative around improving outcomes, evidence-based institutional improvements and things of that nature. But Achieving Dream has a national reputation, and they have 3 awards: a Leader College Award, which we already have achieved, and Dr. Nesbary mentioned that. You have the Leah Meyer Award, which is the Achieving Dream's highest award for work around student success and completion and equity. And then Achieving Dream also has the Leader College of Distinction Award that we will be pursuing as well. And then the Aspen Institute has the Aspen Prize. And these are all gold standards as it relates to achieving success. It relates to student completion and success, and equity in higher education. And we, like I said, we're involved with those, but we're not unfamiliar with receiving awards for outstanding work that we do. Dr. Nesbary mentioned a little earlier about, you know, the Best Colleges in Michigan Award and the top 50 best value colleges in the country. And so we'll continue to work along those lines. And we want to make sure that once we're done with this work, that we can demonstrate that we're the best as well, because we know we'll be tracking that direction. And so, so the next slide there, this is, I think, the final slide for me here. Just simply want to thank you for volunteering to support this effort. There's a lot of work to do in this space, community, student success, and completion work, equity work, a lot of room to do a lot of work. And we have some of the best here on this call to do this kind of work. And so we look forward to it. And so supporting student success is one of the most important ways we can meet student and community needs. And so here is Dr. Kelley Conrad, Vice President for Academic Affairs, to tell you more about how we're meeting community needs and our appreciative inquiry approach to identifying goals for our new plan. So, Dr. Conrad.
Thanks, Dr. Selmon. Good afternoon, everybody. It is interesting and wonderful to see so many people on this meeting, and hopefully the next time we do this, we will be in person. So in keeping with our theme of aspiring to be the best, we want to use a process to get there that is also aspirational. And I don't know about you, but I've never heard anybody aspire to low levels. We aspire to high levels, and that's the approach we want to take, specifically using an appreciative inquiry approach. Next slide, please. But before I get to that, I forgot about this. as part of the environmental scanning that we do when we do the strategic planning, we do a community needs assessment through surveys to different target populations. And on our website, you can see the URL there. There are links to 5 different surveys. If you have not yet taken one of these surveys, if you could do so before, well, as of 9 o'clock, August 1st, we would truly appreciate it. We go back to these survey results time and time again. We've used the ones from about 4 years ago several times in planning programs, in determining if there is a need or desire for something. We used them heavily in our Higher Learning Commission visit this last year. So I invite you to take that survey. There's also some prizes for lucky winners who take the survey and get drawn in our drawing. So next slide, please. So now, appreciative inquiry. This is more fun for me to talk about. Appreciative inquiry is it's a model for planning and for change that is, it's based on the theory that what we together talk about, we can construct that. So we co-construct how we want our future to look. And we do that by appreciating our strengths. We don't dwell on our threats to us or our weaknesses. We focus on our core strengths and how we can build on those. The idea also is that you become what you think about, you become what you talk about, you become what you study. If I say to you, you know, don't think about a pink elephant. Well, the fact that I just said pink elephant made you probably think about a pink elephant, even though I said don't do it. So we can say we don't want to be this and we don't want to be that, but we want to flip it and say, here's what we want to become. Here's what we want to aspire to. And we want to make it lofty because we have come a long way in student success efforts in the last 11 years. And I really think we could write it out to be one of the best in the country. And that's what we're striving for. The next slide, please. So the process, the cycle for appreciative inquiry, and I did a brief training last week for the committee co-chairs, so they will try to incorporate this in the work with their committees. It's basically a 4-cycle process. And the first phase is discovery, where people just explore the best of what we already have. So you might be asked questions like, what was your best experience in relation to learning and discovering things at community college, or teaching at Muskegon Community College, or doing any kind of business with Muskegon Community College. So help us brainstorm where we're really already good. Next stage is to dream the future. What does that look like? How would we know when we get there? The next stage is to design it. So that's where the actual 5-year plan comes in. How are we going to accomplish what we want to achieve? And then the final stage, the destiny, which I think destiny is kind of a corny word for this, but it's what it is. That's where we actually play it all out. So that's over the next 5 years, doing the things that we've said are going to get us to this place where we want to be, building on the strengths that we already have. Yeah, so when we get to questions, if you have more questions about that, you can ask. But in addition to using this approach, our planning process will also employ an integrated planning framework to help us build our relationships, make sure our organization is aligned, and help us be more prepared for change. So I am now going to introduce Nick Santilli from the Society for College and University Planning to tell us more about that.
Thank you, Dr. Conrad. I really appreciate the introduction, and to thank Dr. Nesbary, my dear friend from the ACU Fellows Program, to invite me back to work with your campus again and work with Tina D, and really be as much support as I can be as you embark on another strategic planning process. So the next slide, please. So really what I'd like to do is just really, again, provide a refresher for those of you who might remember me from the last planning process, and for those that are new to this planning process. When we talk about integrated planning, what does it really mean? This is the definition that Society for College and University Planning, or SCUP, uses as we frame integrated planning. As you can see here, there are a couple of terms that I highlighted. It's creating a sustainable approach. It's based on relationships that aligns the institution and helps you prepare for change. And so you're really hitting on some of the themes that you've already heard in the comments that your colleagues have made up to this point. The real key here is that first off, understand that planning is a change process. Very seldom have I seen an institution construct a strategic plan that says in 5 years we want to be the same old institution. That's not at all what planning does. You are creating a future based on how you're forecasting what the environment looks like for your institution, both in terms of the external environment and the internal environment. And you take that information and design a plan that, as I love the theme, that's aspirational, to move the institution to a place to better serve your students and better serve your community. And you can see here that you're already off to a good start with the surveys that you're already using to get an environmental scan, because integrated planning involves all sectors of the academy, on campus and off campus, all of your stakeholders. And as I was looking through the list of participants here, it's a great start to have people who both work on campus, you have students, and you also have members of the community. It takes this large body of people fulfilling various roles in the planning process to move the institution ahead. Next slide, please. So again, what's distinctive and why is integrated planning important? It's again focused on these 4 key terms in the integrated planning process: sustaining and building a culture of planning. It's collaborative, engaging all stakeholders. It aligns the institution, as I like to say, up, down, and sideways. So you're looking at both vertical and horizontal alignment to get the institution focused in a systemic way regarding the planning work that you're doing, and it helps your institution remain change ready. And this is one of the things, as we know, based on the past year and a half that we've all experienced, that our institutions need to be change ready to be able to move in directions and create a nimble culture on campus so that you can respond to environmental shifts. So you'll be hearing more from me as you continue the work in your process, and I'm happy to turn it over now to Tina D to pick up where I've pick up the conversation. So Tina.
Thank you, Nick. The SCUP organization has been a credible asset for our planning process. It really helps us ensure that we're following the best practices and making sure that we have the best outcomes for our students and the communities that we serve. You can go to the next slide. I am so pleased. Our hearts are warmed by the amount of people who are willing to come and join us for this planning process. We have 13 students, 51 community members. We have trustees and board members and 72 employees. So far, we have 138 people who have volunteered to help this effort, and that is representing 45 organizations. We did have 180 last time, but we thought in this climate, with everything that people are dealing with increased demands due to remote working or needing to pivot what you do a little bit, I thought this was an outstanding response from the community. So I just want to thank everybody who has agreed to help us and provide input to this plan, because it's really making a difference. We absolutely cannot do this without you, because from the beginning of all of our planning efforts, we have always aimed to create a strategic plan for the community and by the community. So your input is really important. Next slide. I just want to let you know that we do have a steering committee that manages these efforts. The complete list is on the website so that you can find it there. Next slide. So we're going to hear from each of our committees shortly, but I just wanted to let you know that we do have 5 planning committees. Each of them have a different area of focus, and each of them will be developing goals related to their areas. And then those goals will be brought up to the steering committee by one of their representatives, and then we'll have discussions and prioritize what goals will be in the strategic plan. Next slide. Just a brief overview of the planning process. So all of you will be meeting with your co-chairs over the next few months. We'll be having meetings. I think most committees will be meeting at least once a month, July through October. And then in October, most committees will be done. You'll have your goals identified at that point. Concurrent to your meetings, the steering committee will also be engaging the community in more discussions. Last time we had a listening tour and at the beginning of the process to get community input. So we'll be looking at having some event like that probably online at this point, just to provide any community members with the opportunity to share their concerns, their suggestions for our strategic plan. And then towards the end of the process, we usually have strategic planning forums so that we can present our findings from the committee process and get input on our proposed goals at that time. So there'll be more events to engage the community. In the meantime, if you go to the URL that's listed there, there is a survey for any community member to provide input on our plan at any point during the process. Once the goals are established at the end of October, then our cross-functional teams will come together. We'll look at what the goal is and assemble work teams with our fantastic dedicated employees across campus, and they will come together and develop not only the work plan, but look at what the measurable objectives will be for the goals that they are creating work plans for. And then the exciting part, in January, we'll be launching the new strategic plan and celebrating the new plan and thanking all of you and the community members who provided input on that. There are additional details about the process in the planning charter document, which is available on the website there at our aspiring webpage. What's going to help keep us all together in this remote working environment is our portal system. Typically, My MCC is the name of the portal. Our My MCC portal is typically for employees and students, but it's a great resource for the planning process. So our IT department made portal access available to all community members from off campus. And to tell us more about that is Candy Pickard, our Director of User Services from Elysian. Candy?
Good afternoon. I'm going to share, stop sharing that, and I'm going to pull up and share my screen. We don't want to waste your time, and the last thing I want to do is have you guys struggle with access to that. So I'm going to walk you guys through this. I'm going to stick around this afternoon and make sure if anybody has any questions on how to access this, that I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. But I'm going to walk you through that this afternoon. So if you just go out to Google, or you can use the URL, you just type in Muskegon MCC or Muskegon Community College. You'll go out here and you can choose to use this link or this link here. Today I'm just going to choose the college's link. Up in the right-hand corner, you'll see My MCC. I'm going to choose that today. Sorry, I should have signed out first. I'm going to choose My MCC. It's going to take you to a page that looks like this. I sent Tina some usernames, so you should have all gotten a username for this purpose. I'm going to use a test account. So it's going to be student.candy. And then I have a password for that. And it's going to log me into this. One thing you will notice is here under home, you have a student and employees. The student page doesn't have access to team sites, so you'll want to make sure you're on the employees page. And under team sites, you will see the MCC 2022-26 strategic planning work site. And this work site is where you will have access to everything strategic planning related. And Tina has a lot of great information on this site for you. And all of the committee folders are located here as well. She posts meetings here, and this is where all of the information will be. And like I said, I will be here after the meeting hanging around. So if you have any information or you're having problems logging in, please let me know. And as well, if you call 777-0351, we will also be available to assist you at any point in time. That's all I have for you this afternoon.
Thank you, Candy. You can resume the other PowerPoint. And so now we're going to get an introduction to each of the 5 planning committees that we have. And that will be starting out with the Student Experience Committee. And here speaking on behalf of those co-chairs is Irene Church.
And if I unmute myself, you'll all hear what I'm saying. Good afternoon. So the Student Experience Committee is very much focused on the experience that our students have. And in the past year, we certainly have learned a lot, you know, from finding out that students really need a lot of hotspots and there's not a lot of connectivity. And they also, not all of our students have a laptop. So those are just some of the areas that we found out about. Going forward, we're very grateful for Dr. Conrad's training on the appreciative inquiry, because we certainly, all of us, have some preconceived notions about what we think students want or what we think the student experience is, but we really don't know. And so I'm grateful that we have as many students on our team as we do, because we're going to be meeting with them, meeting with students and meeting with our committee members to ask them questions like, what experiences at MCC have made you feel welcome? Or what experience, what is your perception, or what has been your experience with the MCC website in terms of scheduling your classes and such? So we know that perception is reality for students, and they certainly have a lot of opinions about things, as do other people that are on our team and work with students and work with the work with scheduling and the different systems that we have. So this really is going to be a deep dive into looking at the experience that students have from their initial contact with MCC to the application process, the registration process, you know, the class process, things that they need, things that they don't need. And so that's really what we're going to be focused on, is how do students perceive us, and what would they like? I mean, what is your experience, and what would be your dream experience for that? So that is what our committee will be focused on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ed Breitenbach, Dean of Instruction, and I'm heading up the Student Success and Assessment Committee with my 2 co-chairs, JB Muenberg, faculty member, and Heidi Romero, who's our transfer coordinator. And in order to have MCC come out of of being above average, which we currently are in Michigan, to being one of the best in the nation, we have to look at data. And that's what this committee is going to do. We're going to look at the numbers and see where we're lagging, see where we're ahead, and then make some decisions about that. For example, do you know what the largest community college in the United States is? That college is Miami-Dade College down in Florida. They have 92,000 students. Can you imagine that? MCC has between 4,000 and 5,000 students. So they're so much bigger than us. But they have a graduation rate of about 38%, which is pretty high in terms of graduation rates across the country. Theirs is 38%, ours is 19%. Well, here's a question. What do we have to do to get our graduation rate from 19% to 38%? They've found a way to do it. Let's go down there or find out what they're doing and find out what the secret sauce is and bring it back here. In addition, their graduation rate for African-American students is 24%. Our graduation rate for African-American students is 13%. What can we do to bring that rate up to 24%? So our committee is going to be looking at numbers like that and finding out what colleges in the country are doing this well. What are they doing? You know, what are their interventions? Are they doing relationships? What kind of support are they giving to help more of their students become successful? So that's what we plan to do. And we're excited to start, and thank you for everyone coming today.
Hello, it's Ashley Battle. I am the Generations Partner Community College, and I am going to briefly talk to you about our committee, which is Inclusion and Culture Committee. So I'm one of the co-chairs. If you can go to the next slide. So I'm co-chairs along with Christine Anderson, which is the executive, and Jane Ragland, the So our committee has been charged with identifying goals that will improve diversity, equity, and inclusion, which will affect both our employees and our students. This is important work that needs to be done in our community, and it definitely aligns with MCC's mission. We are very happy to be a part of this work, and we welcome all committee members on our committee as well as the other committees as well. I am now going to hand it over to Ms. Sarah Pearson to talk about the next committee.
Thanks, Ashley. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sarah Pearson. I am the Orientation and Admissions Specialist here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Technology and Facilities Committee, which I co-chair with the amazing David Sturgeon, Director of Physical Plant, and the awesome Dr. Steve Wilson, Chief Information Officer. So we've been tasked with to improve technology, meeting evolving faculty and staff needs and safety needs, and expanding the technology proficiencies. So we get to do both the brick and mortar side of things and the online sort of things, which is really exciting and encompassing so many wonderful things, such as promoting and supporting campus community health and safety, emphasis on safety, campus accessibility as it relates to design, leveraging technology to reduce the time people have to spend doing things and maximize the resources that faculty, staff, students alike have, leaving or expanding paperless and virtual resources. We all know we're moving away from paper, killing less trees, but improving that digital file storage. Lots of little nerdy things in there for technology and how things work behind the scenes. And we're really excited to keep making these changes forward and be part of this initiative. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Kristen Tank to continue on this presentation.
Thanks, Sarah. If you are a part of the Community Outreach and Engagement Committee, you should have received a welcome email last Thursday from Stephanie Briggs, who is our Director of Admissions and one of our committee co-chairs. And in that email is a link to our doodle poll to determine the best date for our first meeting. And about half of our committee members have completed that poll so far. We're going to close it out tomorrow at 5 p.m. So hoping that all of our members can go ahead and take the time to fill that out. So our other co-chair with Stephanie and myself is Navi Cortez. She's the counseling department secretary, and we have been meeting and thinking deeply about what are the best ways to engage all of you in deciding the best ways to engage our community. We have already talked about our goals here, obviously, and you can see those goals to improve access, support enrollment, strengthen collaborations with educational partners, expand community resources for students, and engage community members in MCC's mission and activities. These are all super fun things to talk about, and we are excited about engaging all of you in that. We will also be sharing some inside information about our strategic enrollment management plan, some of our promotions and campaigns, and we will be giving a little bit of information about our 100-year celebration that's coming up in 2026. And we are super excited because we are planning that already. And we're excited to get that rolling and again, to collect more input about that. Our last slide, I think, are all of the members. Or did we already hit that one? Yep, there's all of our members. We have the largest committee of all, and of course, the most fun committee. So we are excited to get started. And I'll turn it back to Tina.
Thank you, Kristen. And thank you to all the co-chairs. It's so nice that the incredibly dedicated faculty and staff here at the college. Everybody is always willing to help do whatever is needed to meet community and student needs. So it's just a fantastic institution to be a part of. So I just want to go over a few of the next steps that you'll want to keep in mind for committee members. First of all of the committees will be meeting later this month. So if you haven't already received an email about when that meeting will be, then please watch for that and or contact one of your co-chairs if you have any concerns about missing an email. And we also want to make sure that you feel really well equipped, that you have all the information that you need and the resources and materials to be a committee member. So if there's anything you can think of that you need to be, you would like us to post it on the portal, or if you'd like to have a one-on-one with me to go over some things, either me or your co-chairs, whatever resources you need, we want to make sure that we provide that to you so that you not only have a good experience as a volunteer serving on a committee, but that also you feeling equipped with the information you need is going to help us have better outcomes. We also encourage all committee members to be an advocate for the overall planning process. If you are a social media user, you can follow us there. We have several different Facebook pages, but we have one specifically that's intended for community members and stakeholders and alumni, and the URL is there for that one. And then also there's information on our aspiring webpage. So share that information with others, share the community needs assessment link with others, your contacts, and that will really help make sure that we get really robust data to make sure that we're informing our planning process and going in the right direction to meet student and community needs. So those are the next steps to be aware of. There will be a follow-up email after today's meeting to all committee members. So please watch for that. But most of your communications will be coming directly from your co-chairs. And then so we're just going to have some closing comments from Dr. Nesbary, and then we'll have your questions and discussion after that. So please welcome again Dr. Dale Nesbary, President of Muskegon Community College.
Thank you, Ms. D. I appreciate it. And thank you all for being here again. I mean, without your input, we can't move forward. This is the reason why we're asking over 100 of you to be a part of this process. So thank you very much for this. Thank you to our faculty, our staff, our students, and those who have helped us get to this point. So with that, I will ask anyone out there with questions of me or anyone on our team to ask those questions, and we'll do the best that we can to respond now. If we can't, we'll get you a response as soon as we can. it's a large group out there. I see a lot of friends. I see a lot of people who know me and aren't afraid to ask those questions. So Shannon Enders is laughing at me right now. So
You're welcome just to speak up, but also there's a few of us answering questions in chat. So however you feel comfortable.
This is Dee Dee Stickley from Ferris. And I just have a question on kind of what do you envision as the role of a partner transfer institution or an institution that really wants to work with you to do anything we can to help you be successful. I'm curious, of some of the ideas that you might have for us on that role. And I know I'm on 2 committees, and I'm looking forward to working with all of the teams.
I'll start and I'll turn it over quickly to my colleagues. To the extent that you can stay in contact with us through technology or through phone or through some of the mechanisms that we have in place in terms of transfer agreements. If there's not a transfer agreement in place between our institution and yours, help us move those forward. Some of you might know that I chair the Michigan Community College Association Board of Directors and their President's Committee. And after 2 years of chairing the President's Committee, this is my last week. But I will still be heavily involved in that organization. And anything that I can do to help you communicate with our college or any other community college in the state, let me know. But I will stop there and ask any of my colleagues to respond if they have a response that's more clear than that one.
Ed, do you have anything to add? I think transfer is going to be part of what transfer success is part of what your committee will be looking at.
Sure, we'd love to get more of a relationship and to get your input of how we can send you more of our students. Yes, that's part of our success story, is your success story. And that is, we just need to be partners. So yeah, we're interested in continuing the dialogue. Thank you.
Very cool. I'm really excited to talk about, how we can expand on the My Transfer Pathways initiative, reverse transfer, and how can we better support your students by reducing the barriers that they may experience when they go away to university, whether it's at Ferris or other institutions.
Tina, could I add something to that?
Yes.
So my name is Kelley Conrad, Vice President for Academic Affairs, but I spent the first 20 years of my career at MCC as the chairperson of Counseling and Advising Center. So when we talk about transfer and students completing, that's what really gets me pretty darn excited still. So I would say for a 4-year partner, keeping your mind open to what we're aspiring to, which are completion rates, not just transfer rates. So anything that you can do to help us help our students finish before they come to you, or maybe in the reverse transfer world, transfer things back, although I think we know statistically that's not as successful. But anything that you can do that can help us help our students finish and then transfer on to you to further their educations. I think that's an awesome partnership that we can work on. And Dee Dee, I know Ferris does a really good job of helping all the 2-year schools with that.
Sure, and one more comment, if I may. Our business partners can be a major part in helping our students succeed and transfer to our 4-year partners. As it turns out, I'm sitting here with a Shape Corporation water bottle. And Shape, like many of the other businesses around West Michigan, work well with their community colleges and the 4-year institutions. We have a number of collaborations, Shape, Howmet Aerospace, you name it. We have a relationship with them. So whatever our business partners can do to help their employees come to the appropriate institution to move forward, please do that and let us know, whether it's myself or any of our colleagues.
That sounds great. And I spent 17 years at a community college before I went to Ferris. So I've got that background experience as well. And I truly believe in the mission and the work that all of you do at the community college before those students transfer to Ferris. So thank you for having me and inviting me to participate.
I think, can you hear me out
Yes,
there?
sir.
I'm on my phone here. Okay. In terms of, I think I said this early on, in terms of transfer, we want to make sure, one is that our students can compete at the next level. So I think Kelley mentioned that, to get feedback through that way. But we also don't want our students spending a lot of time, extra courses, you know, a year of courses, and that's additional money and additional time that they could be in the workforce or not be in the workforce. They have to do that. And so we always want to try to tighten up the programs to make sure our students come out as juniors and have a legitimate 2 years left versus more time in terms of getting their degrees. And so that's really important that we can save student time and money and get them into the workforce or move on with their life. So
Thanks, Dr. Selmon.
Hi, my name is Sean. I'm one of your students on the committee. I'm actually a returning student. I'm actually 50 with 6 kids. So I'm trying to balance returning to school and at the same token, still being a father and financially support our family. I'm on 2 of the committees and I look forward to doing this. And I hope that all the committees are able to come together and be productive and make some legitimate changes that are needed and helpful.
Thank you, Sean, and congratulations on your efforts in coming back to school and having 6 children. I have 2 myself, but they are 39 and 40, so they are well done. We have time, so any other questions? If not, Tina D, I'll turn it back over to you.
It's never too late to ask your questions or provide your suggestions to the process. So you have my contact information. We welcome your input at any point throughout the process. We always strive to make our planning and implementation efforts engaging and transparent. That's why we publish all of our progress reports every quarter, so you can see exactly what we're doing. And during our implementation process, we have an annual summit where we provide updates to the community and ask for their input on our progress and what our focus areas are for the following year. So your suggestions and questions are always welcome. So just let me know if you have any questions or suggestions at any point throughout the process. But otherwise, if there are no other questions, then we will let you go here a little bit early with our sincere gratitude for your participation in this process. We very much appreciate you helping us support student success at Muskegon Community College. Thanks, everyone.